The mission of the clan Messiah in the revolutionary era after the coming of heaven. Distinguished representative leaders of the clan associations, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for honoring us with your presence today. With the powerful proclamation of the new millennium still ringing in our ears, this day marks more than 2 years since the declaration of the opening of the revolutionary era after the coming of heaven. This declaration instilled a promise of new hope for a new future in the hearts of the 6.5 billion people of the world. The dynamic period of the construction of God's kingdom of Cheonilguk, when a day feels like 1,000 years and 1,000 years feels like a day, is continuing. As we usher in this precious and providentially significant time, I would like to take this opportunity to convey to you a special message from heaven regarding your mission, in light of God's calling to Koreans and as the leaders of representing the Korean clan associations. The topic of my speech today is the mission of the clan Messiah in the revolutionary era after the coming of heaven. Ladies and gentlemen, if there were a dream common to all people regardless of gender, age, time, or place, what would it be? Through all ages, human beings have yearned and waited for the realization of the ideal of world peace. However, the everlasting peace that brings joy to heaven has never been achieved in history. This fact remains the basis of our historical sorrow and anguish. What went wrong? What brought about the descent of humankind into ignorance of the ideal that God had for His creation? Perfection cannot be found in ignorance, even if one waits for 10,000 years. Then how did human beings created as the children of the omnipotent and omnipresent God come to fall into such a state of ignorance? The first ancestors, Adam and Eve, followed the false parent, Satan, along the path of the fall. Indeed, this is the first tragedy and most mortifying and lamentable shame in human history. God cannot forsake humankind. Within His grand ideal of creation, they were created to be His children and absolute counterparts of His true love. Thus, He has endured the long years of history with a heart full of bitter pain, grief, and anguish. God is the eternal, true parent of humanity, who has had to persevere through a virtual imprisonment in the shadows of history. No one has known this reality. Throughout history, humankind has continuously worked toward peace on the basis of human effort. The confrontation between democracy and communism is a prime example of this. The core difference between the two is the extent to which individual rights and freedoms are recognized and ensured. Communism and democracy are the children, like children who lost their parents. The two divided into the positions of Cain and Abel, respectively, and became entrapped in the fetters of fraternal conflict. Human beings, without exception, are the children of Satan, with each one born inheriting Satan's lineage. Consider yourself for a moment. In every moment, in every affair of daily life, good and evil are fighting within you to gain the upper hand. Isn't that so? Peace movements always encountered limitations and failure throughout history because imperfect human beings carried them out. This is the reason the United Nations, launched with a splendid dream of realizing world peace, today has to confront its innate limitation and confess that it can no longer give hope to humanity. Simply put, the United Nations was launched during the era prior to the time in which heaven can be directly involved with the unfolding of God's providence in history. Ladies and gentlemen, by virtue of Reverend Moon's devotion to the path of heaven, throughout the more than 80 years of his life, a new world is emerging. On this victory foundation, the revolutionary era after the coming of heaven has been proclaimed. We are now living in the age of heavenly fortune, an age in which all people can be liberated and delivered from the quagmire of sin. It is the era in which the world of freedom and happiness, the ideal world as originally intended at the time of creation, can be established. There are several reasons why heaven designated the person standing before you, Reverend Moon, as the true parent of humankind and thereby opened up a new era. First, it was on the foundation of my having successfully practiced living for the sake of others. That is, I applied the values of life of true love, emerged triumphant, and offered that triumph to humanity. All human beings are born to live for the sake of others. However, because of the ignorance resulting from the fall, people practice selfish individualism, which is the complete opposite. I have revealed this secret of heaven and imparted this knowledge to humankind for the first time in history. God is fully aware of the path my life has taken, through thick and thin. Second, I have dedicated my life to overcoming all obstacles and laying a victorious foundation. Through the education provided by the actual practice of true love, I have fulfilled all conditions necessary for the recovery and establishment of a parent-child relationship between God and humankind. I have opened the way of human beings who became the children of Satan, the adulterer and enemy of love, and who have lived as slaves of false love, false life, and false lineage, to be reborn into the true lineage of God, the source of true love. In other words, I have opened wide the path for people to reach full spiritual maturity as individuals and to establish true families, true clans, true peoples, true nations, and a true world by leading lives of true love. Ladies and gentlemen, as we make our way in the world, we find that inevitably many connections and relationships influence our lives. Most of these connections come about as a result of the choices we make in the context of the environment or conditions in which we find ourselves. These connections are human-based relationships that can be changed or erased whenever we like through human effort. On the other hand, heavenly relationships bequeathed to us from the moment of birth by God lie outside the realm of choice. These relationships are formed by connections of blood. Even though you may dislike your parents or siblings, for example, you cannot change them by choice or vote them out of office. This is because they are connected to you through ties of blood. Once you are born into the family with the surname Kim, you have to live forever as part of the lineage of the Kim family. What is the reason humankind has yet to escape from the snare of sin? It is because people are born inheriting the false lineage of Satan from the outset. However, this is not an innate, principle-based blood connection bestowed by heaven in accordance with the providential will and purpose. Rather, it is an acquired relationship that exists in violation of the principle. It was brought about by human error. In other words, though human beings have been reduced to the position of orphans who have lost their parents through the fall, the fundamental relationship of parent and child endowed by heaven remains intact. Human beings, through the fall, have become ignorant beings who live in vegetative state, unable to recognize their own father even though He is right there, within and beside them. Therefore, all human beings belong to the fallen lineage regardless of who they may be, and they must without exception be born again through the conversion of lineage. This is the only way to be restored into the originally intended blood relationship bequeathed to us by God. Furthermore, the best way to restore people to the position of the children of God through conversion of lineage is through the cross-cultural marriage blessing. It is the greatest of moral acts, creating the heavenly lineage on a whole new level, transcending the barriers of race, culture, nationality, and religion. It is an act that severs all kinds of enmity. It is the sacred right of the chains of lineage, through which all can be recreated through the true parents, the King and Queen of peace, the substantial manifestation of God, who enabled him to exercise his providence in the present world. Beloved representative leaders of the clan associations, ponder this question quietly in your heart. Is there any other way to deliver this world from the war and conflicts we see around us? Is there a way that would be more certain than by creating one global family where there is no hatred between family members through intercultural marriage between enemy clans, or even to a step further, between enemy nations? As the representative leader of clan, representative hundreds of thousands or even millions, you each stand in the position of a clan messiah. Your ancestors, going back tens and hundreds of generations, have been mobilized to watch your every move. Hence, your mission has now been made as plain can be. It can be. First and foremost, you will need to make it known to every member of your clan that the revolutionary era after the coming of heaven, that is the era for the establishment of Chonilguk, has now arrived. It means that you have the responsibility to educate them about the providence God is carrying out on a worldwide level in this era, centering on true parents. You will need to teach them without fail that the intercultural marriage blessing is the ultimate means to establish a peaceful, ideal world here on earth, so that your families and clans can all join the holy ranks of those blessed through the intercultural marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, it is truly regrettable that you cannot sense with your own eyes this precious revolutionary era after the coming of heaven. Never before seen and never to be repeated. The reason for this is that you are relying only on your 5 physical senses. It is my heartfelt hope that you will open your 5 spiritual senses as quickly as possible, so that you may definitely perceive how the providence of heaven is unfolding in this era. However, there is one thing you need to know for sure. This providential time, this era of heavenly fortune, which you have received without giving anything on your part, will not wait for you indefinitely. Now the time has come for you to unite into one as the representatives of the Korean clan associations who have preserved the spirit of the Korean people and the pride of the white-clad race. There is no time to waste. What does it matter whether your name is Kim or Pak? What reason is there for Gyeongsang Province and Jeolla Province not to unite in harmony? The pro-Seoul Korean residents, Union in Japan, Mindan, and the Pro-Pyongyang General Association of Korean Residents in Japan, Chochongryon. Each have their roots in the same Korean peninsula. How about South and North Korea? Aren't we all brothers and sisters, sharing a common lineage? At this time, we should bear in mind that we are the descendants of the white-clad race and the kinsfolk of a people called, selected, and anointed by God in this era. Our ultimate purpose is to find and establish His kingdom and His righteousness, while serving God as the center. What country would be the kingdom? It refers to the kingdom of the peaceful, ideal world, similar in form to a true family with 3 generations living together in harmony, trusting, respecting, and supporting one another, and becoming one in love. In short, the kingdom is the one where God is sovereign. Then, what is meant by His righteousness? It signifies the heavenly way and heavenly rule. The command has been given to us on earth to judge with the heavenly authority of true love this evil world that suffers under scheming, treacherous regimes, and to establish the ideal peaceful world of true love, a liberated free world based on justice and truth. After all, humanity is meant to become one family. The remarkable advances of modern science are contributing greatly to making this world one global village and family. The beautiful kingdom of the peaceful ideal world in which whites and blacks and Orientals and Westerners come together in harmony as one great family will be established on this earth. During this time of transition, the Universal Peace Federation and the Mongolian People's Federation that I have founded will play important roles. The Universal Peace Federation will now stand in the above position to the existing United Nations. It will not be an arena of competition like that which exists between the member nations and the departments of the United Nations. Instead, it will carry out a historic revolution for the peace and welfare of humanity on a pan-global and universal level. Unlike the United Nations, which focuses on the superficial matters and slogans, the Universal Peace Federation will fulfill the messianic mission which is genuinely beneficial to humankind on a more fundamental and substantial level. With this purpose in mind, on October 20 last year, while in the Ukraine during my world speaking tour, propagating the inaugural message of the Universal Peace Federation in 120 nations, I proclaimed before the world the inauguration of the Global Peace Kingdom Police Force and the Global Peace Kingdom Corps. These 2 organizations will play the same role as the red blood cells and the white blood cells of our bodies. In all corners of the world, they will protect the blessed families who have made a new beginning by engrafting to the lineage of heaven. They will also fulfill their duty as sentinels, defending, protecting, and cultivating this beautiful world, this Garden of Eden given to us by God, for which we must be grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mongolian race, making up 74% of the world's population, is the largest racial group in the world. We should inspire all 5 billion of them and generate a climate of true love on this planet. You and I were born on the Korean Peninsula, and we share the same cultural background. We should therefore become the peace ambassadors and special envoys of heaven, passing on my teachings and educating others so they can establish exemplary families through true love, true life, and true lineage. The Mongolian birthmark is not merely a physical mark of the Mongolian race. It is without doubt the mark given by heaven long ago to function as the sign by which true parents would rouse and unite all humanity with the arrival of the revolutionary era after the coming of heaven. Furthermore, the Korean race standing at the center of the Mongolian peoples should be in the forefront of the 6.5 billion people of the world, fulfilling its mission as representing true parents. We should join the proud ranks of the global Peace Kingdom Police Force and Peace Kingdom Corps, in obedience to the lofty aims of the Universal Peace Federation for the sake of God and humanity. The more than 280 clans of Korea should become one, transcending the limits of their names and clans, and uniting proudly as a people chosen by God in this era. Please bear in mind that this is the God-given mission that you have been given as leaders representing the Korean clans and race. Please do not forget that the building of the ideal, peaceful world which God envisaged at the time of the creation and that He desired when He created humankind is now being realized right before your eyes. If this is not a miracle, then what is? All over the world, the couples blessed in the intercultural marriages are putting down roots of the true love of heaven. The new heavenly lineage is bearing fruit. The day draws near when the beautiful earth will become the original Garden of Eden, where we will enjoy everlasting peace and happiness, and where, for innumerable generations, our descendants will shout, Hallelujah, for Cheonilguk. May the great blessings and the grace of God be with you, your clans, and the Korean people. Thank you.